channel Trivilhead Ranger NJ, and we'll be starting the series of scenarios. We'll be taking scenarios one by one and then creating a video that how we can accomplish that particular requirement. So in today's video, we'll be having two contacts on an account, and if we want to creating a video that how we can accomplish that particular requirement. So in today's video, we'll be having two contacts on an account, and if we want to insert the scenarios one by one, and then creating a video that how we can accomplish that particular requirement. So in today's video, we'll be having two contacts on an account, and if we want to insert the scenarios one by one, and then the link for that in the description as well. So yeah, let's get started. I'll be moving back to the Visual Studio first, and as you can see, my org is already linked here. And first, I'll be creating a Apex trigger now. So let's open up. Let's search for Apex, and you can see the command, that is sfdx create apex figure. And if you are wondering what command I have put to have this list shown up to me on the top, so it is command shift p, and if you are using Windows, then please refer control shift p. Contact trigger on which object, that is on which standard object we should have this, and then what action should we should perform on this. Okay, so we'll be updating that to as standard object should be contact, and we should be performing it operation for after insert and after update, because first of all we'll be doing this operation. We want to check it whenever a contact or account is being inserted, or whenever a contact being updated. Mostly we'll be focusing on contacts account field, which will be linking it to the account. And another thing why we are using it the after, because we'll be using the related object, that is account, we'll be accessing that as well. So let's save this, and then you can click right, and you will see this command, that is deploy this source to org. I'll be deploying this. Yes, I'll be putting more code. First, I'll be creating a helper class for this trigger. So for best practices, we should not have our logic in the trigger itself, we should have a helper class. So for that, again I'll be clicking command shift p, and then create apex class, not trigger, but this is now class, that is the helper class, and I'll be giving it name as contact trigger helper. Let's save this. Now after saving this, I will deploy this as well, because I want to access this class in the trigger, so I should have it saved. Yes, so it is deployed to org as well. Now what we can do, we can have the operation here, that when what action should be taken, then we need to access the helper class. So we'll be checking if trigger is performing is after operation first, that is it is performing in the after portion, not in the before, that is before it's present in the org itself. And then we are checking if trigger is in the update portion, then we want to access the contact trigger helper class some method. Okay, so let's give this method name as restrict uh, creating contact more than two. I know it's bit long, but just for clarity, I'm giving this name. And as we are using after update method, so we'll be passing the trigger dot new. Okay. Now let's move on to this outer loop. Now if we are in after operation, but we are not performing is update operation, we are performing is insert. Then what we need to do is, then again we'll be accessing the trigger helper class and it's one method. uh, for this requirement we'll be having the same method, that is restrict creating contact more than two, and again we'll be passing trigger dot new list. Okay, so we can't deploy this because currently these methods are not existing in the helper class. So let's move on to the helper class now. Now in the helper class we will create this method first. So let's copy this, and this is the constructor they have created which we don't require, so we'll remove this. We are creating first method, that is public static void restrict creating contact more than two, and then we are receiving list of contact, and we'll be giving this name as list of con. Yes, so our method is created. So for now what we can do, we can deploy this method first and then trigger also. So you can see it's successfully deployed, and also our trigger should be deployed successfully. Yes, so let's come here now. Now what we will do, first we will assign the set of id account IDs set. We are creating a set of IDs which will be storing the set of sorry, account IDs. Then we'll be having it loop over. So our current contact will be looping over the list of contact which we will be receiving after the trigger has fired. So after it will be looping over, each contact should check. So this is the correct code it is showing. Let's click on tab to save us some time. So what it is saying, that we will be checking if current contact is having its field, that is account ID not equal to null, and then we should have this field's value should be stored in should be add to this set, that is the account IDs which we had just initialized in the beginning. So next what we will be doing, we will be again creating a map, that is a map of id and integer which will be storing that particular account id having how many number of contact in it. So again it's showing the correct code, but let's go with it. Means let's map of contact count. So if you are wondering why it's showing the suggestion, it's because the Einstein for developer is installed in my VS Studio. So that's why you can do that as well, and it will be very helpful for you. But you should know that what you are performing. So first to have the list, they are looping it over aggregate query in the loop itself, but we will be storing this list here. So let's have a list of account. So we'll be selecting account ID and count of IDs, which is naming as contact count from contact, where account ID should lie in the set which we had initialized. and we'll be grouping it by account ID. For aggregate query, you might be aware that we should have it group always. So yes, and then we'll be assigning this. I guess I'm doing something wrong. Let's move over, we'll get to know. So now we'll be having our loop over this list. So what I was doing wrong, that it won't be storing in the list of account but on the list of aggregate result. Yes, so let's give this as name as this. Now we need to loop over this list again. So one aggregate result will be looping over this list, and what it will be doing, it will be adding into that map the integer values. So let's have the map name, then we'll be putting in this map id, that is account id, and at account id. Integer so one bracket I have mistaken. Yeah. So yes, what it did is based on the account ID, that is this, it has put in this ID variable of map account IDs, and then getting the integer, that is this, has put it in this contact count, means getting the values from this contact count and putting it in the part of integer, that is the value pair of the map. So our map has been created. Now we'll again go to looping over of contact, and we'll loop over our given list, that is the list which we are receiving, and we want to check if our contact, again account ID, is not equals to null, and also our map of contact count is containing the key of our current account, current contacts account ID. Then we'll be checking if our map is uh, having the, if first of all account ID. So let's put it as not a string but contact account ID is greater than 2, then we will be displaying error. So let's add error as only 2 contact per account is allowed. So yeah, so again to brief you about the code, what we have done, first of all we'll be receiving a list of contact based on the, whenever a contact will be triggering this helper, means whenever a contact is triggered, then we'll be receiving a list of contact, that is that particular contact only we will be receiving. Then what we are doing, we have creating a set of account IDs, and we are putting in the value of particular contact's account ID. So it is storing all the account IDs, or suppose our contact one has pushed has triggered this method, then its particular account id will be stored in this account id set. Then we have created a map, that is map of contact count, and we are doing the aggregate query, that is please fetch the count of contacts and account IDs from contact wherever our particular account ID is matched with the account ID stored in this set, and we are grouping it using account IDs. Then again, what we are doing, we will be looping over this particular aggregate result, and we are putting each account IDs into the key pair of the map, and contact count, that is count of contacts, into the value pair of the map. So suppose if our if our account 1 is having 2 contacts and account 2 is having 3 contacts, so our map will look like something: 1 equals to 2 and 2 equals to 3. Then again we'll be looping over the list of contact which we have received after triggered. Then first we will check if its account id is not equals to null, and if our map is contained that particular account id using which this contact is been triggered, then we will get the number of contacts count from that contact which has triggered using this contact account id. If it is more than 2, then please throw this error. So let's deploy this. Okay, so 14th line we have an error. Okay, so it's saying that variable does not exist. Let's check. I guess let's see. Um, okay, so that's the part I was missing. Please be careful about the syntax, and then we'll be deploying the trigger as well. So it's deployed. Now we have moved on to our Salesforce dev org. So let's open the app. I'll be clicking on sales app. So we'll go first to account, all accounts, then any account will open, and it is having only one contact for now. So let's create another contact. Save. So two contacts are added, but if we will be adding third contact now, so it should be throwing an error. So let's hope that it should throw error. Only two contacts per account is allowed, so that's the same error which we have given in our VS Studio, so it's correct. So I hope you understand that how we are working with the triggers and why we have created the trigger helper, and why we are receiving list of contact. If you might be asking this question, that suppose you have doubt that we will always be triggering using one contact only, so why we are receiving a list of contact in the trigger or trigger helper? It is to bulkify the code, it is for best practices, because in case if we want to use suppose a data loader or data import wizard, and we are inserting multiple contacts at a time for one account or two account, so this should be having this code to have it bulkify to run for more than one record at a time. So I hope you understand this functionality. Our trigger was that we want to throw an error if a contact is if two or more than contact is being linked to a particular account. So thank you. If you like the video, please like it, subscribe the channel, and stay tuned for such more videos. We'll be doing this series more often now, and later on we'll be moving to lightning web component as well. And if you have any scenarios in your mind, please let me know in the comment section, and we'll create a video on that as well. So yeah, thank you, stay tuned.